Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook World Channel. Jikook is back in the spotlight today, not only because of a small interaction that sparked euphoria, but also because of the extreme reactions emerging from different sides of the fandom. At one point, Jikook was revered as a symbol of closeness, comfort, and a warm dynamic. At another, the same name was dragged into a vortex of hatred, accusations, and personal attacks, with Jimin as the primary target. This phenomenon demonstrates the thin line between love and obsession, and how overinterpretation can turn into hurtful actions. For some fans, Jikook is a narrative built from simple moments. A glance, a laugh, support on stage, or a small, seemingly sincere habit. These moments are read as human intimacy, a strong friendship amidst the pressures of the industry. However, when that reading is locked in as the only truth, the space for other possibilities is closed. This is where problems begin to arise. What started as shared enjoyment turns into a claim of ownership over meaning, as if one interpretation has the right to exclude others. The strong reaction from some taekookers toward Jimin reveals a more complex dynamic than simply differing ship preferences. The attacks are no longer about discussion or preference, but rather personalized hatred. Jimin is positioned as a barrier, a trigger, or even an enemy, when in fact, he is a real individual with feelings and boundaries. This pattern is nothing new in fandom culture, but its intensity today demonstrates how algorithms, echo chambers, and sensationalized content accelerate the escalation of emotions. Social media plays a significant role in perpetuating this cycle. Video clips stripped of context, narratives twisted for clicks, and provocative language create the illusion of urgency. Fans are encouraged to react quickly, choose sides, and defend their version of the truth. In this climate, empathy often takes a back seat. Discussions turn into attacks, and criticism turns into bullying. Jimin, often known for his gentleness and sensitivity, becomes a target because he is seen as vulnerable and symbolic. What is often forgotten is that the BTS members never asked for this narrative. Their public interactions are the result of long-term work, friendship, and professionalism. Linking every gesture to a rigid romantic agenda not only simplifies human relationships but also ignores the boundaries of privacy. Furthermore, when one ship becomes a tool to demean another, the claimed love turns into something dangerous. On the other hand, there are Jikook fans who are trapped in an overly defensive state. Every criticism is read as a threat. Every difference of opinion is seen as an attack. A cycle of tit for tat is inevitable. A healthy fandom should be able to accommodate differences without sacrificing anyone's dignity. When both sides become entrenched, the most obvious victims are the individuals attacked and the community divided. It's important to emphasize that interest in ship is a personal choice. There's nothing wrong with enjoying certain dynamics as long as they don't cross the line. The problem arises when ship becomes an exclusive identity that demands absolute loyalty and justifies attacks. At that point, love has turned into obsession, and obsession tends to demand sacrifice, often from those who never agreed to be sacrificed. Today's attack on Jimin also opens a broader conversation about double standards in fandom. Sensitivity is often selective. When certain idols are attacked, some fans speak out. But when the target shifts, empathy evaporates. Moral consistency becomes a test. If we truly love BTS as 7 individuals, then protection should apply to all without any strings attached. There is a way out of this impasse, though it isn't instant. It starts with slowing down our reactions, checking sources, and rejecting content that provokes anger. Remembering that behind the scenes are real people reading, feeling, and hurting. Replacing offensive language with conversational language. Recognizing that disagreement is not the same as hostility. And most importantly, separating entertainment from claims of ownership. Jikook today stands at a crossroads between warm love and noisy hatred. The choice is up to the fandom, whether to allow the narrative to be hijacked by obsession and attacks, or to return it to the essence of appreciation, respect, and shared joy. Jimin shouldn't be subjected to conflicting interpretations. He, like everyone else, deserves a safe space to create without being burdened by a war of meanings he never asked for. If the fandom can learn from this moment, perhaps Jikook will no longer be the reason for the split, but rather a reminder that true love never requires sacrifice. The conversation about Jikook today is also inextricably linked to the way fandom collectively produces meaning. Every post, every snapshot, and every caption fuels a constantly layered interpretation. When a single narrative becomes dominant, it creates social pressure. To agree with it means to be accepted, to question it means to be attacked. In situations like this, rationality is easily displaced by mass affection. People no longer ask whether a claim is fair or accurate, but rather whether it benefits their own position. Jimin, once again, finds himself at the center of the vortex, as he is often used not as a symbol in his own right, but as a tool of proof. This phenomenon is exacerbated by the attention economy. Calm content rarely goes viral. Content that triggers emotions quickly spreads. Words like attacked, hated, or betrayed invite clicks and reactions. Unwittingly, some fans reproduce this language, expanding the reach of the same hatred. In the process, the line between criticizing fandom behavior and attacking individuals becomes blurred. Jimin is dragged into the spotlight as a recognizable name, easily provoked by reactions, and unfortunately, often considered safe to attack due to the long-standing stereotypes attached to him. However, if we look deeper, these attacks reflect a collective fear. Fear of losing the narrative, fear of the ship's identity collapsing, fear that the imagined togetherness is no longer exclusive. These fears are then projected outward, seeking scapegoats. Jimin becomes a projection screen for anxieties he never actually created. This is an old mechanism in group dynamics, but it remains painful because its impact is real. On the other hand, there are also fans who try to calm the flow, reminding us that the relationships between members cannot be reduced to a single meaning. They emphasize that closeness isn't always romantic, that friendship can be just as deep, and that professionalism on stage isn't synonymous with hidden agendas. Unfortunately, these voices are often drowned out by the noise. Moderation is considered less exciting, while emotional extremism is seen as authentic. It's also important to discuss how Jimin's public image is shaped and misused. His sensitivity, empathy, and way of expressing affection are often read through a biased lens. Instead of being seen as strengths, these qualities are twisted into weaknesses. This is why attacks feel so easily directed at him. When fandom fails to challenge this bias, they indirectly reinforce it. However, there are small moments of hope. When some fans choose to break the chain of transmission, refuse to participate in toxic hashtags, or publicly raise awareness about the impact of words, the ecosystem slowly shifts. It's not dramatic, it's not instant, but it's real. Change in fandom often begins with consistent individual decisions, not with the victory of a major debate. Jikook, as a narrative, doesn't have to be a battlefield. It can remain a space for appreciation, light-hearted speculation, and joy without absolute demands. Allowing for diverse readings actually enriches the fan experience. When one interpretation no longer feels threatened by another, the need to attack diminishes. Jimin, in this scenario, becomes the subject again, not the object. Ultimately, the question that remains is not about who is right in the ship war, but about what values the fandom seeks to uphold. Can acclaimed love stand without demeaning? Does loyalty have to be proven with hatred? Today's Jikook provides an honest mirror. Love and hate can coexist, separated only by a choice of attitude. And that choice, once again, lies in the hands of those who speak out the loudest and those who choose to pause and remember that behind all the narratives, there are real people worthy of respect. If this discussion makes you rethink the boundaries between love, obsession, and how we behave in fandom, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section while maintaining mutual respect. If you agree that all members deserve to be treated with respect, please hit the like button so this message reaches more people. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next discussion. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.